Have you seen this outrageous argument of Shine age class 7 or age class 8? Well, the fact she cast Stone Skin makes her age class 8, but Neil said that she's age class 7 based on the size. Could be that she's just a small dragon for her size. And that's true, Phil, my puddle. I think if Neil made a mistake, he'll just find an excuse that she's age class 8. I'm pretty sure she's age class 8. She cast Stone Skin, so... I don't think that any amount of... I don't think we're going to be able to say, like, let us kill Scoria first and we'll get rid of the weapons after. I don't think we've even got the Anvil with us, do we, Candy? None of the players have this Anvil. It's only people in chat talking about it. I honestly don't even remember getting it. If none of us remember it, the only way we're getting it is with a link to the VOD. Yeah, but, right. Holy shit. Why am I so triggered already? It's one thing for the players and DM to remember having it and it not being on a character sheet. It's another thing entirely for some random fuckers in chat to be like, you've got this thing, and none of the players or DM remember it. I'm sure you're right. Find the VOD. I do vaguely remember something about an Anvil that was magical, but we didn't know what it did. And now for about 10 of you, the last 6 weeks have just been an endless hell of mentioning the Anvil and not being acknowledged. It's a £400 Anvil. I mean, if we've got the weight allowance, we might as well take it. But it's nice Anvil. We'll leave the Anvil with all of the gold, because we're going to come back and grab it all. So where is this that we're leaving it? Alright, well, cool. So, why don't you mention it to Neil, and when he confirms it, we can find out what it does. Because every time you people are like, oh, what about this? What about that? Muggins here has to go to Neil and be like, oh, Neil, what about this? So it's just a lot, you know. I already annoy Neil about a lot of stuff. Oh, Koibu, we took the Anvil. We have it. It's on the sheet 400. Wait, so which sheet is it on? Maybe it's on Tyrael's sheet? I can't see Tyrael's sheet. Maybe that's why. Oh, the Glacier sheet, maybe. Maybe it's in here. Ah! You happy now? Now it's on... Given that it's on the character sheet, I'll ask Neil about it, okay? Fine. You got off. Well done. You've won. You've won this time, guys. Here, look. We'll message Neil right now. There you go. I asked him. If you stick around, you might even find out. Oh, he's replying, guys. He's replying. Wait. What's it gonna be, Neil? Still typing. Oh, imagine. Alright, let's just read this. This is from Vegetable Meeting 7. And it's entitled Dragon Negotiation. A lot of people have been saying the dragons can't be negotiated with, but I don't think that's true. The dragons have made it clear what they want, and while that won't change, the brothers can very likely get much more in their favour as long as they meet the demands. In terms of offensive firepower, Shine is already much more valuable than the weapons, however she doesn't have much utility outside of niche examples like training ballistas and influence with a few metallics. Utility the weapons provide: dragon sense, fear immunity, grounding, cool looking, and the spear. The hammer's utility can be made up for with the amulet. The bow probably has no replacement. I feel like the brothers should ask for some replacement to the immunity to dragon fear. If there are zeros to build a tolerance to it. It should also go without saying that since Shine can't trust the word of the brothers to last 6 months, even with a circle of truth, they shouldn't trust hers for 200 years. Magical effects such as Gaius, or maybe even a Blood Oath sworn to Valthara, should be one of the brothers' requirements. That being said, the judgment of dragons seems to be magically impaired by the weapons. Why else would 6, 7 if you include the red killed by Scoria chromatics, get themselves killed just for getting to eat a few people a day? Or Shine go on this quest against the brothers instead of just taking a nap for 6 months and then seeing if they stay true to their word? 100% agree with that. I told you didn't write this, Smith's fanboy. Neil's replied. I'm going to read it now, but I'm not reading it to you, okay? Neil's replied. No, well, if we can reach the sub goal, I'll tell you early. What's that? We need another 16. If we can do that, I'll tell you early. Otherwise, you can stick around to the end and I'll tell you then. Alright, what do I think of this guy's arguments here? Vegetable Meeting 7. What do I think of this argument here? He's basically saying that we can probably negotiate with the dragons.
No, my lady.
So I don't even know if we can negotiate with them. Here's how I think it goes down, okay? I just based on how Neil roleplays powerful NPCs. I think
no, my lady.
Thank you, Flying Coffee.
You look so beautiful.
In pursuit of the Anvil. Nice one. Nice one. Well, you know.
In pursuit of Anvil.
We're getting there, you know. What are we on now? I think it's going to go down like, if we don't accept the deal that's already on the table, if we push back at all, I think it ends in a fight. I really believe that. I still think we should go and try and negotiate. But I reckon that, yeah, I don't reckon we're going to be able to negotiate. But what this person's saying, okay, so they're saying that the dragon's probably more offensively powerful than the weapons. I would agree with that if if Shine is like completely helping in the fight, then yes. But that might be true against Scoria, but not necessarily against all the dragons in the future. There's no getting around the fear immunity, but our saves are pretty good, so I don't think we need to worry about the fear too much. Losing the bow is the worst. Losing the bow is the worst. My my damage in the Scoria fight would have been really, really high with the bow. The issue with the deal with Shine is that it's all well and good, right? We destroy the weapons, Shine helps us fight Scoria. But what if she gets killed fighting Scoria? Then what? Then we've just lost the weapons, and we've got no Dragon Servant. And it's just a bad fucking time. So, I think that's something that we have to consider quite seriously. That Shine may not survive the fight with Scoria, and therefore, her deal, in that case, should be discounted. Shine can detect lies at will, so I don't think lying to her is anywhere near a good idea. Are dragons under 50% health going to float or crash? I think float. The thing I don't understand is that Imric offered to negotiate with Shine before it came to all these blows and people getting fucked up, but she dismissed him. Absolutely sans the Skeletor, and that's the thing that I think Imric's most upset about. Didn't have to come to this. I came to her in good faith. Even after she tried to kill me, I still approached her with reverence and respect. And what did I get? I got nothing in return. And now she wants to negotiate. Couldn't you use Project Stealth to have a meeting with Shine to keep your options open more? Yes, could do. It's potentially true. You have armor that helps you command people, right? Like actual armor. Yeah, the armor of command. Could that armor help fight Dragon Fear if you decide to move a whole army into a cave? Yeah, it might do, yeah. If you were trying to fight it with an army, but I don't think that's a good idea against, like, bringing an army of shitters to fight a dragon is in a cave is like a really bad idea because they're all going to get fucking burnt to a crisp. If Balorian is still on your plane, perhaps you could ask her to oversee the negotiations. She was upset about the weapons, but might agree to find a peaceful way to get rid of them. Yeah, maybe, or we might just end up fighting 4 dragons instead of 3. Shine is putting her life on the line for something she believes is a good cause. While we can't figure out why Shine is treating the weapons as a dragon holocaust, what she is doing is noble if her fears are true. Instead of fucking off to Solomon, never dealing with Scoria or the brothers again, she wants to protect her kind by doing what she can. That being said, she's being much more hostile than what we could see as reasonable, but I assume that's because the weapons make dragons hostile to their wielders. So somebody had a comment in one of the threads that I saw, which is very, very interesting. Given that every NPC that spoke to Shine seems to have had a good conversation with her, and yeah, every time we've interacted with her, she's been a bitch. It got me thinking, I wonder if Neil is role-playing the dragons as more dickish to symbolize the effect of the Dragon's Bane weapons. Like, just we interpret it as more aggressive and more demeaning than it actually is. So I wonder, I was going to say that we should time pool my conversation with Shine. That way we can confirm that it did happen as expected. That was your thought, LMAO123lol. Nice. I wouldn't trust Neil to reveal that unless she really separated the weapons by more than putting them a foot away. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're right. We should do it when the weapons aren't there. Regardless, if your conversation with Shine was less aggressive than you thought, her actions in Drekis speak by themselves. Okay, we're going to take a moment, because we need to address this we need to address the facts, okay? Now, question, chat. Is it a fact that Shine brought the 7 chromatic dragons here and unleashed them on Drekis? Is that a fact? Do we know that? She's the only one that knew my name. That doesn't mean that she specifically brought them. She could have just told us. She could have just told them our name and where we were from, and somebody else could have been the ringleader, right? That's like Varys saying, "Don't kill Tywin" to Tyrion, and then telling him exactly where he was. I don't know if it's exactly the same. Because, like, I have the conversation with Shine, right? She turns around to the dragons she's with afterwards and being like, "He says he's a prince from a town, a country called Drekis in Arcadia," right? And then from that point, words out. That could have been what happened. And then Shine could have heard that the other dragons were coming and sort of tried to come and mediate to make things go differently. The thing is, my feeling is that there is a lot of unknowns here, and we kind of owe Shine a chance to talk it out. At least to hear her side of the story before we decide what to do. I think we can have preferences for what we're going to do, but I do think that we kind of owe the chance for her to speak. Because for those of you who are just like, for those of you who would say we should backstab and kill Shine as, you know, as basically as underhand and as easily as possible from whatever we can get away with. My feeling for that is, you know how Neil has played every NPC with regards to wearing the gold dragon armor, right? If we outright betray and kill Shine without even negotiating, then how's that going to go down? That's going to be like, that gives Neil carte blanche to turn every NPC against us, basically. Gold dragons have 18 int. When she told the others where you were from, she would have known that would have happened? Absolutely not. You can be the smartest guy in the world, but you can't predict the butterfly effect of a single comment. You know, she could have told the silver dragon she was with, and then that could have been the one to tell the others. She spat in your face at every encounter. Well, there's only been 2 encounters. One was the ambush, and one was me talking to her, right? You've got to tell everyone the darkest timeline plan. If I tell them, though, like, then if we did want to go that way, it gives the game away, because one of you fuckers will tell Neil. And it needs to be a surprise. You could just say she ambushed you when you tried to negotiate. Potentially, yeah, and maybe it wouldn't be time pulled. But at the same time, that's a really evil act. Like, is that something that Imric would do? Show as much good faith as possible before killing her as a way to assert dominance? Alright, chat's lighting up now. We're at the meat of the matter here, aren't we? Alright, hang on. Any way to imprison a gold dragon and then release it after Scoria falls? Yeah, it's possible, but only in the same outlandish way that we could have maybe imprisoned Scoria. In which case, basically not possible. I'm pretty sure when you talked with Shine, she threatened to come to Arcadia and even said that you better kill Scoria before she came. She had every intention to come to your land and get the weapons. You should bring the Elven Ambassador to the talks because he's some skin in the game. The elves made them and led you to them. Yeah, that's true, but the elves seem to have turned their backs on them. The weapons. They didn't want anything to do with them anymore, remember? The issue that I've got with the whole situation is that a gold dragon, by the book, is a lawful good, friendly to humans creature. What was I going to say? Yeah, so by the book, they're these lawful good, friendly to human creatures. And by the way the NPCs talk about them, they seem to have a legacy in-game of being lawful good, benevolent, friendly to human creatures, right? However, every interaction we've personally had with it has been essentially like aggressive and deadly. So it's what's difficult to parse is exactly how much weight my character should put on the fact that there is a legacy that these things are good creatures, like by default, and they just are good. Because in that way, it makes me think, if the creature is good, and we come to the decision that we should kill it, it kind of doesn't take that much self-reflection to think, like, have we lost our path a little bit, that I'm thinking that this is the right thing to be doing. If another country said, hey, this country had super strong weapon that can fuck you up, of course the other country would attack. You should hear her out, but she incited the other dragons to come into our land. Yes, well, I mean, that's what America did in Iraq, right? Considering the weapons may be affecting your perception of the dragons, you probably shouldn't have the weapons anywhere near you during the meeting, but then how will you fight the dragons if things go wrong? Absolutely, yeah, we need the weapons with us. There's no way you do that, though? I don't know, me and Moon were talking about it pretty seriously. It's like how a lawful good human wouldn't bat an eye at the goblins being murdered. Well, no, it's not, because it's not actually. Goblins are actually evil. It would be like humans not caring that, like, like a bunch of brownies being killed. Right? Yeah. It would be like if there were a bunch of brownies being killed and a human just didn't care. But I feel like good humans would care that brownies are being killed. Insulin Dependent says, can you brutalize and imprison her in some way? What tools do you have to capture in prison if you don't want to kill in the best way possible? Letting her leave is clearly not an option. I don't think there's any way, honestly. Because she can cast magic, she can shapeshift. I just don't see any way of doing it. If dragon weapons corrupting your mind and controlling you doesn't mean taking control of players, Koibu would never... No, Koibu would never do that. What if corruption is then lying about what you're hearing? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that our interactions with the dragons might not actually be reality. That's why I think it's worth time pooling Imric's conversation with Shine, just to see if it's the same. It'd be pretty obvious straight away if it wasn't. AO says, also the Queen talked to it, and Shine made a good impression apparently, so how much do you trust your Queen and maybe your possibly corrupted mind? Well, that's the thing, I do trust the Queen. The fact that she and other nobility had good interactions with Shine, to me, is either saying that Shine's putting on, like, is being conciliatory because she knows that bad things have happened due to her actions. And she maybe dismissed us out of hand too quickly last time. Or it means that, yeah, like, we're having a slightly different... We're interacting with a different version of Shine, maybe because of corruption. Did Shine even attack you? To my knowledge, she just stood there and the blue attacked. That's true, but it did feel like the
hello, my lady.
The fucking goal was
so
to
beautiful.
kill us, and she was part of that.
Ooh la 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 la.
I think that takes us to 18.
Ooh la la la.
So I will now tell you. I will now read to you the description of the amulet. Right? I hope you are excited. Because, you know, for some of you, this has been... I can't sleep. I'm thinking about the amulet. About the anvil, you know? So, hopefully you guys can rest well after this. Okay. Taking 2 times the normal time on crafting a weapon with this anvil allows a basic proficiency check to be made by a proficient weaponsmith. On a fail, it's a good weapon. On a pass... The weapon is of especially fine enough quality to receive enchantments. Can make weapons of suitable quality for any level of enchantment with a good enough proficiency check. Without the anvil, very high proficiency checks are needed to make weapons suitable for enchantment. And only the greatest smiths are capable of making weapons of high enchantment value. And even then on a really good check, meaning they probably take many tries to make a weapon that can receive a really big enchantment. You happy now? Was that worth the gifted subs? You got fucking scammed, boys. Oh yeah, you guys like it? Okay, I'm glad you're happy with that. God, we're behind on the chat. It's been a while. The Queen said she came with a slew of chromatic dragons who she believed had control over them. But as soon as they got to Arcadia, she lost control over them because they went to Scoria. This means she indeed brought them. Well, it doesn't mean she brought them. She might have come with them in an attempt to... Like let's say, right. Yeah, so you've got your 6 mates. They're drunk and pissed off, and they're going to fight 7 other lads over on the other side of the road. Now, you might go with them in the attempt to try and calm things down and avoid a fight, right? But it might turn into a fight anyway, and then you might just not get involved. That's a possibility. This is what I'm saying. We don't have the full story. I know how... And also, there's the fact that chat has historically been kill the queen, or, you know, like, kill the cleric, or whatever. Like, you guys are extremely bloodthirsty and quick to just be like, lol, do the like, murder hobo thing. So I have to really take what you guys are saying with a massive grain of salt. Chances are Shine would do what Balorian did, clear some of the defenders other than Scoria or such. No. Well, if she's not helping in the actual fight, then we can't do it. That's just baseline, because there's no way we can kill Scoria without the weapons and without the dragon actually in the fight. Crazy suggestion. I think you could try to go for Scoria now, and at worst, you'll be back home within 5 days. Yes, that would mean that maybe 100 civilians die, but you get to kill Scoria with the weapons and then give them away to the dragons, proving that you were honest with your intentions from the start. Yeah, but I'm not sure we can just go and kill Scoria, right? There we go. If that's the dragons, like, say this is the bronze dragon, you've just got... you've just got to, you know, stand here when you fight it, basically. Like, in between its legs, so that no one can breath weapon you without hitting the other dragon. So I feel like Shine won't kill the other 2 dragons with her breath weapon. So that's basically the plan. You know what? I was laughing, but now I look at it, it's pretty good.
one question. Did Shine bring the chromatics to Arcadia, or did they just follow her after the ambush was a failure? Well, what did Shine actually say about that? How much has been said by dragons? How much has been implied by player characters? But you know what? It doesn't matter. The party thinks what they think, for better or for worse. And so that's the truth of the situation.
I
It
can
doesn't matter what the
hear the
dragon's
smirk on his
perspective
face.
is.
Interesting. The Queen said Shine allied with the chromatic dragons and that she brought them believing she had control over them. I think this heavily implies she was the one that sought them and allied with them because she thought she could control them. But I guess if you still have doubts, you can ask Shine through Project Self. You're pro the gold dragon subjugating the chromatic dragons to go kill the humans.
Hello, my lady.
No, I'm not pro that.
You look so beautiful.
Blowing your back out? Mate, I was blowing my uncle's back out as I normally do on a Wednesday evening. But as I came onto your stream, you made my wood stand up by another 5 inches. The sensation was pleasurable. Thank you. Well, at least you could do is subscribe. I know this isn't OnlyFans, but have a bit of respect. I think it's a safe bet that if Shine has personally handed the weapons over, that Shine would keep her word, considering she would have had... I think that, yes. I believe that if we make a deal with Shine, then she won't betray us. Can Shine be ordered to become Tyrael's wife and strengthen the Magari bloodline with dragon strength? Sin. I know what you guys are in here for, alright? For everyone constantly going on about people marrying Shine, they're in some weird Japanese dragon porn. I've seen it on the internet, guys. I know what it is you lot are into. And I don't agree with it. Shine's aggression could be from the fact that the Dragon Slayers recently killed a gold dragon. That other gold could be Shine's sibling or mate. You could speak with Dead, the gold dragon armor you have on, and ask if she knew Shine or not. That's a good idea, yeah. If you guys end up killing all the dragons and you level them up to enchant weapons out of the Anvil, you'd be able to kit out a small army and dragon scale and magical weapons. Would you really be scared of the encroaching Verasi army at that point? No, yeah, probably not. I think giving the weapons over after you kill Scoria is still on the table. You all talked about how the weapons might just throw their rolls when fighting for her, but considering the same fate would befall them if they do that, I think the weapons would have no choice but to try their hardest to corrupt you in between now and when the fight happens. Maybe. Maybe not, right? You don't know how that works. Maybe stick to hiring artists? Whoa! Hey, listen, McTacky. All art's as valid as everything else. Shine didn't bring the other dragons and didn't tell them your location. The dragons knew immediately that you were Drakisian after the first ambush took place. The blue dragon that was at the first ambush is probably the one that brought the other 6 to Arcadia. Possible, right? This is what I'm saying. I think we need to hear Shine out. I think not doing so is just an evil act.
Party gathers together. You get dinner with the queen that evening. Long table, sort of in a empty.
I wear the
otherwise
gold
empty
dragon
hall.
armor.
To dinner.
Oops.
Yes.
No, we would, as we're leaving the house, we would tell you to leave that at home.
What is wrong with
Are
Anton?
we not wearing armor to dinner?
No, it would be like you showing up with a giant cloak that had the N-word on it. We're not doing that, okay?
Alright, I'll wear the green dragon armor to dinner.
No, we'll tell them to make us. Well, you wouldn't wear. I don't imagine you'd go with full armor. You're like clanking around, like past the salt, like.
Okay, well then I can tell you then yes, Anton is wearing armor to dinner. The color can change, but he's going to wear his armor to dinner. He's not expecting a fight, but if Scoria, comes.
Okay, good one. Crystal ball, Neil. That's a good point.
Yeah.
You find his body frozen in the wastelands, dead.
What?
Yeah, he's dead.
I pour out a drink for him.
How does a mighty warrior like that just randomly die?
Crystal ball, Neil. That's a good point.
Yeah.
Hey, Smith's fanboy, you can abuse me, but don't abuse McTacky. Thank you. By the way, fucking point of order here. You can listen to this stream and be like, oh, Nick's such a cock. He doesn't want to kill dragons. But I made extremely impassioned arguments for killing the dragons in the actual episode. So there's a difference between talking as Imric and talking as me. And, either way, I'm arguing both sides here, so don't come at me. I'm an enlightened centrist. Get fucked, basically. As you talk to Shine, you should give all the weapons to Anton. And as she talks, you should be able to tell if Anton is hearing different things. And if shit goes down, he can quickly pass you the weapons you need. I think that doesn't work out that well in practice. I've never fertilized anyone or anything, let alone any fictional species. Is that true though, McTacky? Do you have flowers in your garden? You're facilitating plants to have sex with bees. That's fucking disgusting. Oh, you meant to say feticized, not fertilized. Fertilized. It's funnier though. What if it's the other way around? What if you're telling Neil as the DM and what's coming out of your character's mouth is different? Maybe what Shine heard your character say is that you're going to track her down and kill her or something. Yeah, that's also a possibility. Another thing that would be addressed by the time pool. I was making the art in the episode last week when I was making the, and I'll say it again, articulate and impassioned arguments for killing the dragons. In my head, I was thinking, well, in a completely logical sense, like just looking at the facts as the player Nick, I feel like these dragons are like kind of asking for it at this point, and that honestly, we'd be massively justified in just slaughtering them all. And I was thinking, like, if I'm sort of thinking that as me, then Imric, who is corrupted by the weapons, is probably like, you know, an order of magnitude beyond that in terms of like, these things need to fucking die. So that's why I was making those arguments. Guys, Smith's fanboy, stop whining Mitaki up. Mitaki, stop replying to him. He's a troll. He's always doing that. Neil has given no indication of any level of corruption your character is receiving from the weapons yet, so I don't think it's necessary to RP as such. Yes, Firesong. And do you know what? That is the exact reason why I'm suspecting that we're maybe hearing false versions of conversations. Because the fact it was made such a big part of the story that the dragon weapons corrupt, and at no point has Neil engaged with, or, like, he's never mentioned it, and he's never even responded to it when I've talked about it, or we've talked about it, about the corruption of the weapons, which might make, it's kind of what's making me think that maybe he's doing it himself in that he's changing the way interactions are going. Neil hasn't asked you to be anti-dragon or forced roleplay at all? No. In fact, the thing driving us to be anti-dragon is how fucking annoying they all are, which is, again, what's making me think that Neil is maybe altering our conversations. I know it sucks, but is there any merit to letting Tyrael wear the spell storing ring for you? Maybe he has better options? Well, I don't really think so. I mean, mount, fly, teleport, polymorph self is maybe the only one. But and invis, maybe. But really, these spells aren't that much use to Tyrael. Whereas for me, they're spells I use every day, and it's getting me extra, like other spells, like an extra Stone Skin, or an extra Ice Storm, or, you know, an extra Cloud Kill, or whatever it is. Like, I get, if Tyrael was, like, going on some solo mission, then I'd give him the ring. But when we're together as a party, I think it makes sense, just makes more sense for me to have it. Because otherwise, right, I've still got to take Invis every day if Tyrael's got the ring.
Hello, my lady.
I've still got to take Fly every day if Tyrael's got
so
the ring.
Beautiful.
Time pull a meeting with Balorian at a time before you had the weapons. See if Balorian is more hostile than you remembered. Balorian was respectful before you guys had the weapons. Yeah, but time pulling a meeting before we had the weapons, so that's not going to tell us anything, right? Is there a greater restoration equivalent spell you could have cast on you by a cleric or something? I only know the 5e equivalent spell that could purify your altered state of mind. I don't know, if we did determine that we were being corrupted, then maybe there's a way to fix it. I think the thing would be to just be aware of it and to alter your actions with that in mind. The way I think of things like items and spells is like how much everyday usage are they going to get? Like that, the Ring of Spell Storing for me is like 4 additional spell slots, which is a huge buff in basically every situation. Whereas if I give the ring to Tyrael, in some situations he's going to get benefit from being able to cast Invis or Polymorph Self or Teleport or whatever. But only in very few situations, and very, very rarely at times when I'm there as well. Like a lot of the time I can just cast those spells on him myself, or lend him the ring for a minute, he casts Polymorph himself on him, and then he goes off. Like, if he's doing a solo mission, then that's one thing. But when we're in a party together, I really just think that it's bullshit. And, like, I don't know why everyone wants to give all the fucking... Like, the entire campaign, people have been like, oh, give that to Tyrael, give that to Tyrael. The guy's got +2... He's got 2 +5 swords. He's got, like, the most insane AC and gear that you could even imagine. And has done for the whole campaign. And then finally I get some items and it's like, oh, you know that ring that lets you cast more wizard spells? So you give it to the fucking rogue. You don't actually have to take Invis, Fly, Polymorph, Stealth, and Teleport if Tyrael has them because these are more of a... Untrue, okay? Because it's all about action economy. If Tyrael has to cast Fly and Invis on me, like, I always have an Invis ready in case I'm in a situation, in a fight, that I can't escape, and the only way out is casting Invis. So that's why that's there. The Fly, again, I'm casting that in combat, so I can't be like, oh, Tyrael, can you cast Fly on me? Instead of making your 2 attacks. Like, what's the advantage of giving it to Tyrael, Fire Song? There is another one-shot on the cards, though. So every few months, we do a one-shot with tier 3 subs. I think, as it is right now, there's about 4 tier 3 subs. They've all played before. So if there's any new tier 3 subs in the next few weeks, then I'll invite them to the game when it happens. Otherwise, it'll just be the 4 guys who are still tier 3 subbed. Now that Bone Arrow, Bixby's Hand, and Dimensional Blade are not on this list, what replaces them? Both illusion spells are good, both programmed and permanent illusion are both useful. Gendon says, great session. I wonder why the relatively vulnerable Magari Keep was left unmolested during Scoria's rampage. Another 3-week break is going to be a rough wait. I hope they find time to fit in another session. And then imagine caring about Resident Evil. My guess is she's hoping to be able to bring them over to her side and didn't want to give them any reason to dislike her. I find that unlikely. Vegetable Meeting says the Keep's not currently providing any advantage, so there's no point for her to take it out. Sangaro, here you are. They decided to trust in the inherent goodness of Gold Dragon to reveal who they were. In return, Shine brought 6 Chromatic Dragons to Arcadia, and now they're under Scoria's command. How can anyone trust her to keep her word after this? At the very least, the dragon-slaying weapons should be used to take out the 6 Chromatic Dragons first. I doubt the Metallic Dragons will attack the city or have enough time to refill it. To be fair, Sangaro, she said she would kill us, so she's just fulfilling her side of what she said she would do. Firm Feces with a good one. Good memes. This comment's been deleted because it was too edgy. What direction are we leaning at the moment? I think I'm personally in the camp where we approach Shine in good faith discussion. We make clear to her that we find her actions deplorable, and then we expect to hear answers as to how this was allowed to happen on her watch. Because if we're to work together, then there needs to be some mutual understanding that she at least values human life. Then I think we need to push back a little bit on the reward. I think we need to either explore the opportunity to keep the weapons until after the fight with Scoria, or extend the period, or maybe rope in more of the good dragons. I think an absolute... Right, sorry. And then I think we lay our chips on the table there. We be as good faith as possible, but we stand our ground. And if it comes to blows, which I think it will if we do that, then we fight. Basically, I think that's the way it goes. I think a really more interesting option for me, but I don't know if the other two are up for it, is to go and basically say, you caused this problem with those dragons in Rencor. Before any discussions take place, you have to help us deal with them. Once they are dead and Rencor is liberated, then we can discuss the fate of the weapons and whether we're going to accept your deal. I think that's a fair enough statement to make, but there's a decent chance that just results in fighting straight away. So this is the dragons meeting after the tank. Okay.
Did you hear that? He spoke Drakissian. They must come from far away, from Arcadia.
And the copper dragon will pipe up with a, "Isn't that a good thing? Won't they leave us alone now?" And the blue says, No, they'll come. They always come. They'll come in more numbers. The gold speaks again. We must make our decisions carefully. If we are to rid the world of these monsters, we must move with care. I will look into where they may have come from. I will find their home, and we shall reconvene and discuss plans further.
and begins to head back towards the portal when the copper dragon pipes up and says, "What about this room and the portal?" Gold dragon will pause and say, we best not risk them finding us after. Destroy it on the other side." And the 3 dragons will march through towards the portal. The gold will touch it, and it will open, and one by one, they will walk through it. And then the lights on the portal moments later will sort of like break.
So, for me, listening to that again, that kind of confirms, one, that Shine didn't necessarily tell them where we were from, and me saying it didn't matter, so that's nice to know. Second, that the blue dragon seemed much more of a... He didn't seem subservient to Shine in that discussion, although he did seem... It seemed like they had more of a normal working relationship. And it also kind of sounded like they were from Solomon, not from the Dragon Plane. Okay, we are going to read some of the Reddit threads, so I'm going to start skipping through people's... I'm going to pick out some choice chats rather than... Do you really think you can take out all the chromatic dragons in Rencourt? It seems impossible to me, but maybe I'm wrong. I think it's possible, yeah. We've just got good protection against their breath weapons. They're spread out across the city, and we can essentially like kill them in 1 round each. So, like, this is what I was trying to say. Like, if we come from the sky and the white dragons are in the air over the city, we can probably kill both of them before the other dragons even get to roll initiative. Will you guys draw swords first, though? Imagine you can't come to an agreement and you tell her that you will go kill the chromatics. Will you not attack if she went first? No, I don't think we would attack, right? I think if our deal is we were keeping the weapons until the dragons in Rancor are dealt with, and we leave, it's up to their hair then to attack us, I think. Darth Horrendous. This was a great, intense RP episode and very refreshing after the pretty gamey Glacier expedition. Honestly, I half expected the situation to be worse, with maybe the castle trashed, Shelley held hostage, and the capital besieged. Really enjoyed the talks with the Queen, Sombar, and the Ambassador. Something to consider in regards to elven troops is that they are connected to the Feywilds, where elves live and can reach other forests with the elves in the world quickly. Maybe it's best not to think of Silvus as an elven kingdom with a set number of troops and more of the Arcadian base of a wider elven empire, with the amount of troops available more depending on how much they are willing to commit to it. True. Also, lol at the dragon slaying weapons being an existential threat to dragons when dragons have their own plane. It's only one set of weapons. Even dragons in the prime material plane often have heavily fortified lairs, and an average dragon can stomp an average man. Even with the weapons, that's true. But there's always going to be some hero that can wield the weapons. I mean, I feel like that's kind of a moot point. From the dragon's point of view, whoever has these weapons is going to be a badass, because if we don't have them, someone's killed us, and therefore they're probably a badass. All dragons are bastards, says Sigma. Why? Seriously, the dragon killing weapons are strong, but I really don't see how this is an appropriate response, especially from a gold dragon. The dragon's weapons aren't even on the level of a nuclear bomb. More like cyanide. Who brought nukes into it? Imagine being in a war, and one of your spies gets killed by a newly developed poison, and your response is to occupy a civilian population and kill. And start killing innocent men and women and children. Like, WTF, mate. Unironically, kill every dragon on the prime material plane. Not even a dilemma at this point. You're getting it twisted. Shine does not agree with the chromatic dragon's actions. Anton clarified that with the Queen. -3 votes. Here you go, mate. There you go. Shine helped to facilitate the chromatic dragons coming to Arcadia. She is culpable for the death and destruction caused by the... I honestly feel like reading this thread, like there was a couple of well thought out posts made early on that everyone is kind of, depending on which side of the argument you're on, there was like one good pro-dragon post near the start and one good like anti-dragon post near the start, and then both sides basically are just repeating the same arguments made in those posts. And I do think that the anti-dragon post had a few assumptions in there, like Shine being the one to bring the chromatics to Arcadia, which is not necessarily true. There's no reason Shine couldn't have enlisted metallic dragons. I mean, this is a massive assumption. You don't know that. They enlisted chromatic edgelords because they knew they would get results, because they knew they would do fucked up shit like that. It's entirely possible that that's true, but there are reasons that she couldn't have enlisted metallic dragons. Shine obviously only enlisted chromatics because she couldn't find any metallics. I personally would. That's how I would interpret it, but you literally don't know what you're talking about, he says. Okay, there's some shade getting thrown around here. You literally don't know how Draconic society works. They live even longer than elves. Who are you to say that the ones who do not want to pillage and plunder won't be debating what is the right course of action for millennia. You seem to be of the mind that Shine has some sort of authority over them, when that was never shown to be the case. 4 down, like -4 for that. It's a good point. Upvote. Such a strong upvote it caused my control to drop off my desk. And then the antiquarian man says, nah, you're out of your mind, mate. If these beasts are as clever as you give them credit for, Shine should have realized that they can't control the chromatics, and enlisting them would only bring destruction. None of the dragons have ever given the brothers reason to trust them. Mortals are only amusing playthings until they showed they could fight back. Shine is as culpable for the deaths as any of the chromatics are. He makes a good argument, doesn't he? Infildale says, actually, she literally already knows they aren't trustworthy, because in the initial ambush against the brothers, the chromatics were friendly firing amongst each other. No? Well, they fired off their breath weapons in an enclosed space with no concern for their allies. So either they're untrustworthy, yes, or stupid, also yes. Honestly, dragon intelligence is phony. Get fucked. I don't like your tone, antiquarian man. You this based. This not so based. Your point, if you can even call it that, falls apart when you fail to consider that Shine is not the one who enlists the dragons, as we have seen in this episode. Chromatic dragons allied with Scoria. I've said in another comment, what is Shine supposed to do? Kill herself into 6 to 7 dragons? Mortals were always capable of fighting back. The difference is that they have the weapons that were built to erase their race from existence. Do you think Kobe planned the Reddit dragon hate to be the IRL anti-dragon mind effect? He might have done, mate. Neil, this guy's working on a different level, you know? You don't know what this guy's up to, Neil. He's up to all sorts of crazy shit. He could be doing anything. Whew. Man, reading this angry argument, it's getting heated in here. Keeg says, I'm pretty sold on this whole metallic dragons are good myth, being a history is written by the victors situation. They have power and influence for so many centuries, and they are just a bit more tactful than their chromatic kin. Of course, they will spin the narrative that they're the good guys. It seems likely to me that the weapons don't corrupt the users to hate dragons, but rather introduce their users to dragons who are naturally hateable. I agree. The metallics also have the benefit of being compared to chromatics, so it's just bloodthirsty dolts. It's easy to look kind when Jeffrey Dahmer and Hitler are your point of comparison. I tell you, this guy, he's on fire over here, this guy. Yeah, if Shine didn't want to die a bloody death at the hands of the Megaris, then she shouldn't have brought those chromatic dragons to Drakis. End of story. She comes through the portal just her and her shiny friends and asks nicely, then maybe. But it's either foolish or arrogant to unleash these beasts into Arcadia and then expect its citizens to parley with you. Oh. Shine is the only dragon that can open portals. You can find Kobe saying it here.
But, yeah, you fell off. Plus ratio.
Nice. You really got him there, Malibors. How can he be watching the stream while he's in the trenches? That's true. Well, it was 5 days ago. The guy's probably crawling out by now. Sam says, I think that Shine bears responsibility for the chromatic slaughter of innocents. It doesn't matter if Shine intentionally brought them as help or not. They learned of the occasion of the weapon through Shine, who learned it through the King of Redport. Without Shine's involvement, the chromatics simply wouldn't be here. Yeah, Sam, that's not true. We watched that video before. Again, it honestly all comes down to this question, doesn't it? How did they get to Arcadia? Who led them here? Who brought them there? Like, if Shine brought them there personally, on purpose, then she is massively culpable. If she just followed them in an attempt to mediate, then she almost holds no responsibility at all. It's probably something in between that, but without knowing that, it's kind of hard to judge. Looks like a fucked up badger with wings. Alright, somebody mute him. How dare you say that?